Alright guys, we've got the HKS 900 Turbo Kit for the R35 GTR. It's going to go on the engine we have right over there, and just got it all unboxed like Christmas. It's really nice. The manifolds that we have here, really nice units. They did a really good job, HKS as usual. They even provide you with gaskets for the exhaust manifolds, our suction tubes, really badass wastegates. The heart of the turbo kit is the GT2 7467 turbos. So HKS claims 900 horsepower to the tire, the 800 and the 1000. So it's supposed to have the top end power of the 1000 kit with the spool and response of the 800 kit. So it'll be interesting to see what we can do with these. So we've got a built trans, built motor, so we'll be able to crank it up. And we also have the downpipes that come off of it. The wastegates get recirculated back in to the exhaust. Keep it nice and quiet. Comes with all new coolant lines, all the fittings we need, some heat shielding that will be applied to the actual body itself. So we've got our exhaust manifolds installed. The left-hand turbo is installed. Some of the water lines and oil feed lines on. The wastegate's on this side. We also tested the wastegate. Make sure it opens when it's supposed to. We're not gonna assume and just throw it on there and figure it's gonna work. So both sides are set for about 18 pounds base spring pressure. We've gone ahead and modified our coolant water pipe. This is what feeds water for the transmission heat exchanger. So we've cut it and we've had it welded, we painted it, and just enough to give us clearance for this massive HKS wastegate that we have. So this all looks good, and we're ready to finish installing our right-hand side turbo. And hopefully we get to drop this bad boy in today. They really thought this out really well with this kit. So these are the brackets that bolt to the motor mounts, and then it bolts to the compressor housing. So just giving the exhaust manifold some more support. All right, so we've got our bracket installed, HKS kit, really nice. They give you a bracket that bolts to the motor mount brackets, and then it attaches to the compressor housing. So it just gives a little bit more rigidity, some support for the exhaust manifold. I mean, this thing's pretty beefy. I don't think it needs it, but it just goes to show you the lengths that HKS goes to, ensuring it's a really high quality product. So our bracket's in, we'll get our oil lines installed, water lines, wastegate, and then we'll get our heat shields on, and unfortunately have to cover up those pretty manifolds. We've got all our oil lines, water lines, everything ready to go. We're gonna get our heat shields that we've modified. We painted them, and we're gonna get it installed. We'll get our piping in, and we'll plumb our wastegate lines, and we'll go ahead and get this motor up into the chassis. All right, so we've got everything in. Turbos are all in. We're ready to put this thing into the chassis. So we're gonna drop it down, get our cradle lifted up. We'll go to town. Hopefully get this thing running relatively shortly.
So right now I am putting the front suspension back together. Since everything came down with the engine, right now I'm putting on the upper control arm to steering knuckle bolt, retaining bolt. And I just gotta play around with all this stuff. Get the rotor back on, caliper back on, and then make sure that the lines are brake lines and everything else, the ABS wires are routed correctly. We'll be good. Not forget the wheel speed sensor. That will go there.
All right, so on the GTR build, we're getting ready to fire it up, but what we like to use is the AMSOIL break-in oil. Brand new engine. We want to make sure we get those rings seated and broken in quickly. So this is going to help facilitate this. So we'll run this probably for less than 100 miles or so, and we're going to go ahead and add some of this stuff in there right now. Hey guys. We're back at it here with another R35 GTR fuel pump assembly. We're gonna go ahead and get going on our install of the Visconti setup using the dual Hellcat pumps, the 520s. This GTR is gonna be making close to 1,000 wheel. So we gotta modify this. Right now it has drop-in pumps. So this is not gonna cut it. Definitely want something more robust. So that's why we're going with the Visconti stuff. So we're at it. We're already took the top half off. We're going to continue on and get this bad boy all set up. All right, guys, we got this assembly ready to go in this GTR. We're gonna go ahead and install it now, and then we'll get this thing on the dyno. Hey guys, we are finally completed with this R35 GTR project. Did a built motor in this bad boy, HKS 900 Turbo Kit, Shep 1K transmission, all the supporting fuel modifications. It's got the Visconti Stage 2 fuel pump assembly with the wiring kit, ID 1700s, pretty basic, nothing too crazy. Stock valves, stock heads, stock cams, and stock intercooler piping. It has an AMS street intercooler on it, AMS intake, carbon fiber. We did some radium catch cans on it, and that's about it. So did really, really well on the 900 kit. I was hoping we would make 1,000 on the 900s, and we just did that. We just eked by 32 pounds of boost, almost 33 pounds of boost, 1,002. We're making it right at 6,100 RPM. You can see the turbo efficiency starts to drop off. Our boost drops off right around 6,250. So it did what it needed to. We're really happy with the results. Again, it's a 900 kit, so getting 1,000 out of it to the tire really was impressive, especially with the basic mods that this GTR has. So all in all, really happy on 91 octane, 21 pounds of boost. We're at 670 wheel. Didn't want to go too crazy on 91 since we have E85 that this thing's going to run and live on most of the time anyway. So really happy. Customer is finally going to be reunited with his GTR, and he is going to be really impressed with it, especially since it was only making around 600 of the tire before. So we got about 170 miles on it before we did our dyno testing. So all that was break-in. It's got synthetic oil in it now. We did about 115 on break-in oil, a few oil changes on that stuff, and now it's on some AMSOIL 5W50. We'll change the oil one more time before it heads back to the customer, and we'll do a little bit more test driving on the street, make sure everything is good. So all in all, successful project. Nice to see it come to this day and put that cherry on top. So that's a wrap.